Good afternoon, and you are welcome to Faith on the Field show, where we learn, we inspire, and motivate. I am your host this afternoon, Annette Yebua, taking you through the subject failure and life after failure. And we have in the studio Dr. Evelyn Teria, who is a medical doctor by profession, a life coach, and an entrepreneur, to take us through failure, what her experience was, and how she managed it. Dr. Teria, you are welcome to Faith on the Field show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
You are looking so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
If you're a toffee, I'll lick you.
Oh, you would? I would charge you extra then.
So, can I take you home?
Oh, when we finish, yes, certainly.
Valentine is around the corner.
Oh. Okay, something to look for. It's something to look forward to.
You are so sweet.
I would look forward to that one then.
You are so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
What's the secret?
What's my secret? The glory of God is in the genes. That's all I can say. God gave me it.
Glory be to God. But you are beautiful.
Oh, Annette, let's.
So, Doc.
Yes.
What is failure?
Okay, so I will not do a textbook definition of failure because I want us to be able to talk practical, to join the conversation that goes on in lots of people's heads. That failure, most people see is when things don't go right. They don't go the way we want things to go. Your expectations have not been met. Your dad expected you to go to university and then come and take a job and you didn't take it. Your dad feels that you are a failure, or you didn't get that marriage that you wanted, or you didn't get the grades that you wanted, or you were born in the wrong side of the road, or born in Ghana, or whatever. Because people think that they need to be born in the US and the UK to have made it in life. But and so failure, it's when things don't turn out the way you expect, and you are disappointed, and you consequently feel sad and challenged and bitter and all the nasty things that happen when people are disappointed.
So, Doc, have you failed in your life?
Many times.
And can you share one or two experience with us?
Okay. So failure is with us, whether we like it or not. You will fail. So I think all of us need to get that understanding. Now, I've had many failures. The most recent one is I suppose I've had more failures, but the most recent but significant failure in my life was when.
Was it related to work?
It's related to work, but then it affected so many other areas in my life, because when I stopped work, financially I was failing. Came home very unhappy. So COVID, when COVID happened, a few doctors, some doctors, not all, a few doctors, few nurses, other health professionals lost their jobs. I worked out in the UK. I worked in an accidents and emergency department, which is what you call here casualty. And so people come to hospital with whatever happens to them. So when COVID happened, the government said, generally broadcasted, that people don't come to hospital and that they only come if they're very, very unwell or very, very sick. So consequently, people stopped coming. And the patients were also genuinely afraid that when they come to the hospital, they will catch COVID. So we used to go to work and there was a lot more doctors and nurses than there were patients in the department, which had never happened before. So in the end, those of us who had, it's a loose contract. We didn't have a proper contract with the hospital. So they called on extra doctors and nurses when they needed them. So, that's what we were. So those extra doctors, we didn't have any more jobs. We were basically jobless. So I had to go home. For most people, that was a failure. How can a doctor not, have a job with all the expectations and everything else? We went home. The kind of contract we had no money, nothing coming in the house. It wasn't a pleasant situation, but it was a failure that taught me so much, because during that period, I learned the most. Actually, in the last 10 years, I learned the most out of my difficulties and my challenges. So yes, we all have failures, and I've had mine.
But as human beings, as we are, to hear the word failure is not something we all like.
Mm.
What would you say about that? Do you like failure?
I mean, nobody loves failing. I mean, nobody wants to be at the bottom of the class all the time, or to have lost money, or to lose a loved one, or lose a job, or whatever. Nobody wants to do that. But like I've said, failure will come no matter what. All of us will experience failure. All of us will. So the difference between the successful people in life and the not so successful people is the way in which we view failure, the way in which we see failure, the way in which we perceive the things that happen to us, the way we understand it, and the way we work it out. That's how we're going to be successful compared to people who just fail and then they're sad and miserable. So we will have failures. It's just the way we look at it, the way we manage it.
So, assuming you have a child, you enroll him or her at school, and at the end of the term, he comes home, and the results is F, 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 fever, fever, fever. Will you gladly accept?
I would not gladly accept. I will find out why the child is coming home with F, 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 F. Is it because the child is in the wrong school? Is it because the child is doing the wrong subjects? Is it because the child is not meant to be in that kind of school? Is it because the child is unwell? Is it because the child is not happy at home? Is it because the child has made wrong friends? Or it could be so many reasons why a child fails in school. So when your child comes home failing, it's up to you as a parent to find out what it's wrong, rather than say, oh, what bonded or osha or whatever. Sit down and find out what is wrong. Go see the teacher. Find as the child. What is going on here. Is it the school that's wrong?
But
or in the wrong
here
class?
we put pressure on ourselves, and it has resulted in most of us experiencing failure more than necessary, because when one fails, one has to learn and not repeat the same mistake, but it
Yes.
keeps repeating itself. It keeps repeating itself. What will you do?
So we say failure is you having an exam and not benefiting from the results of the exams. So we fail and continue to fail because we do not step back when we've had our difficulty or challenge to think and analyze and see where we went wrong. And this is the problem. So you keep doing the same old thing over and over again. And I mean, why should things change if you are not doing anything different? If you continue to do the same old things,
the way you are saying,
you get the same old results.
We are talking about failure, and you are expressing yourself with smile and laughter. I mean, do you celebrate failure? And as you said, you've been through. How did you manage it, and how did you come out of it?
So, to a certain extent, I would say you should celebrate failure.
How?
You should, and especially if you are out of your comfort zone.
If you
are doing something different,
I'm from a family
yes,
that they don't accept failure, and you are saying that we should celebrate.
Yes.
Dog.
I mean,
which parents will accept this?
I think this is some of the things, the mindset shift that needs to happen in our society, because whether we like it or not, we're going to have challenges. If it's not your child failing,
we'll come back. We'll come back.
Okay.
We are going for a commercial break, and we'll come back.
How are you doing? So, are you looking for a company to take care of your designing needs, advertising, printing, branding, you name it? I have the perfect company for you. It's Concepts Advertising. I personally have worked with them before. They helped me create labels for my products, and let me tell you, the end products came out so well. So if you have any of these needs, if you have printing needs, branding, anything, just contact Concepts Advertising. They are on Facebook and on Instagram. Send them a DM and they will take care of you. Thank you.
we are back.
Yes.
We were talking about celebrating failure, and you said we should, but I don't think people out there will take this statement lightly.
Yes, and I know that. I know the mindset is that everybody expects that we are all going to be successful, pass the exams the first time round, have the best marriage, your children are amazing, life is very good. That's what we expect. But we all know that life is not like that. Life is not at all the way we'll expect it to be. So, like we're saying, whether we like it or not, we're going to have difficulties. So, why don't we begin to look at that failure differently and enjoy the experience as it gets along? Because you will gain a lot more when you look at it positively rather than to be afraid of it, something to be shunned, something to
So
be
we shouldn't be
ignored.
afraid of failure.
Oh, depends on the type of failure we're looking at. No, I think that, like I'm saying, there's companies out in the US, probably a bit in the UK, where when you go for interview, they're asking you the last time you made a failure in your job, trying
Have you
something
been
new.
asked that question before?
I haven't been asked that question before, but I know of people where you're encouraged to fail and to fail quick and to fail fast because as you're failing, you are learning along. And so you're not going to be repeating the same old mistakes because you've learned and learned and learned. And companies that do that, and there are some spectacular companies that encourage their people to learn quickly, learn fast, and fail better. And you fail and fail and fail, and you get better and better until you're very good at what it is you're doing. And this is the mindset that we should have. We fail to learn the lesson that nature gives us freely. You don't
But
go
look,
to
not
university for that.
everybody is like you. Some, as a result of failure, have ended their life, committed suicide. Some having mental issues. Some have put a full stop on them. What would, as a medical doctor, what's your take on this?
See, I wasn't always like this. I also had the beliefs that most people do have. I've had to change my mindset. I've had to look at things differently. I've had to learn to do these things differently. If I've done it, everybody else should be able to do or should at least try and to look at that because it's failure is just with us. So why not use that as something that comes naturally in the environment? Why don't we use it positively, for our own good? So we can change the story.
So in your case, there's room for failure.
Of course, I'm doing new things now, and I expect to make some silly mistakes. Yes,
Because failures brings wastage.
of course.
Because
Yes,
we lose.
you lose money, you lose time, you lose face, you might lose your health. Yes, failures does have its drawbacks. Yes, but I expect
So
to make
when one
some.
fails, that person shouldn't be hard on he or herself. Shouldn't be
No,
hard.
no, I'm saying,
So people should take failure lightly.
people should learn from their failures. So by all means, feel upset because you've lost money. Feel upset, but let let it end there. Let the emotional bit end there, and then come out and begin to think about what it is that you got wrong.
Sorry, Doc. Some people take a quite long years to come out from their failures, to be whom they are.
Well, I mean, if you
It's
like,
not easy.
I'm not saying
It's
this is
not.
easy.
It's not easy.
I am not saying
Because
it's
you are
easy.
saying it with flair, comfortable,
I'm not saying it is,
as if
but
your failure didn't hit you. Bam.
of course it did. I mean, I've had. I mean, this, the COVID one example. I had nights when I was lying down, tossing and turning, no money. So it did affect me. And then finally, when I got a job, I was worried that I'm going to go and work, and I don't know whether I'm going to get COVID and bring it to my family. Do you understand? I had my challenges. I had my difficulties. But the point is, if I didn't sit back, look, and change, and do things differently, I'd be sad like everybody. I would be, you understand? I have my difficulties, but I have to tell myself, yes, my failure ends here.
So
Now I've got
failure is a foundation for success.
definitely. You
Is it a
tell me
foundation for success?
tell me which entrepreneur that you know of hasn't had challenges getting to where they're getting to. But look at all the big people that you know and question them. Ask them, what difficulties have you had?
No, they
What
are not
challenges have you
telling
been?
us
Because you're not asking. We're not asking.
They
We
are
just
not-
see them or they've
yeah,
done
yeah,
well.
because-
Or you might think that, your father gave them money or they were lucky.
Yeah, that's what they
That's
want
the
us to
problem.
hear. They are not telling us their struggles, their failures, but they tell us the success. And someone will go into that same business and he failed. But if those that we are looking up to, our mentors, will tell us, "Oh, this is what I did, I failed, and I managed to change the situation, and now I'm successful," it will be good for
Yes.
all of us.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure. Yes.
people are keeping their failure as a secret to the masses.
I mean, I can see how people might want to hide their failures, but again, the masses, are they going out there to find out, educate themselves? Self-education, yeah, this is not called a degree or what your mom and dad taught you. There's a lot on YouTube you can learn about failure. Are you looking out there to find people who think the way you think? Are you going out there to find yourself a mentor? Are you going out there to get yourself a coach? Are you going out there to learn something new? These are the steps that you'll need to take to get better in yourself.
So
every
what makes
single
a
day.
person a failure?
The person who fails is the person who does not learn from the failure. So the
But
person
yeah,
falls
yeah.
and lies there and does not
Yeah,
get
when
up.
someone fails, we brand the person as a fool.
Yes, because our mindset is very, very wrong.
Those who fail are they fools?
Of course not. Of course not. They are not fools. They are fools only if they don't learn from their mistakes. If they fall and don't get up, brush themselves and say, "Oh, what did I get wrong here? What did I say? How did I not say it? Why did I wake up?" Do you understand? You step back from all the emotions and see what it is that I got wrong. And I'll give you a typical example. I mean, I've always wanted my own business for a long time. And every time I'd gone in, I had failed. I've had to step back and find out. So now I go in partnership because I know where my weaknesses are. So I'll find somebody who is strong in my weak area, just so I don't fail again. But I failed. I've had so many businesses. I've tried so many businesses, maybe 3, 4. I did not correct them. I kept on trying. It doesn't work. Then you go into another one. It doesn't work. Then finally, I had to step back and think. I know what my problem is. I know it very well. So now I found somebody who
I have failed 5 times. Doesn't mean I should stop or I should keep pushing.
you keep pushing. You learn from why you failed those 5 times. Go back, sit back, take your pen and paper. This is what I did. This is why I think the business failed. This is what I did. This is why I think the business failed. And then when you're setting up you're going the next time, you're making sure that those mistakes, you don't do them.
But
You
a lot
cover.
of pressure. People put lots of pressure on individuals and it results in failure. So for somebody to take time in learning what he or she did to fail, we should give that person room, patience.
I think so. You as the person who is failing, you've got to tell yourself that I need to do this. There will be pressure and there will be people who call you names, people will laugh at you and things, but you know where it is you want to go. You know your calling, your gifting, what it is that only God spoke to you. God did not speak to the other people. So you might do something, it didn't work. You might do something, but you know that this is what I want to do. You have to press
So
on.
what are the positive things that failure has brought to you?
Persistence and never give up. Never give up. I don't take no for an answer. If I call somebody and the person doesn't reply, that doesn't mean that the person doesn't want to listen to me or whatever. The person could be busy, the person's phone could be off, the person could be having a bad day. So usually if I'm wanting something from somebody, I phone at least 3 times. I question a lot more. I try to, find, be with like-minded people. So important. People who know the value of what it is you want to do. People who know the value of failure. People who are developing themselves. People who are going places. That is where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be with people who are backbiting and chatting, and every time they're moaning, complaining, why me in Ghana, why now we have to go abroad. And you don't want people you want people who are strategizing because they want something better for themselves. That's where you want to be. Because people like those, they experience failure as well. When they see failure in you, they don't laugh because they know they've been there themselves. They know your struggles. They'll help you and
when
pull
you
you on.
see someone failing, that should be a threat to us.
I mean,
that he is on the road or he or she is on the verge of success.
well, it shouldn't be a threat to anybody. If somebody is failing, all of us should be, because we all have things we want to do. All of us should be concentrating on what we want to do. and don't look at what other people are doing.
So
Yours
it has
is
brought out the best in you.
certainly. If you look at your difficulties in life, then you know what next you want to study, or you want to improve on, or who you want to call upon. There's so much, guys. People have got mobile phones, and all we do is sit on Facebook or sit on YouTube. Ask YouTube good questions. I'm failing in my business. What do I need to do? Get results from YouTube. Learn from there.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Amhofe. How are you doing? So, are you looking for a company to take care of your designing needs, advertising, printing, branding, you name it? I have the perfect company for you. It's Concepts Advertising. I personally have worked with them before. They helped me create labels for my products. And let me tell you, the end products came out so well. So if you have any of these needs, if you have printing needs, branding, anything, just contact Concepts Advertising. They are on Facebook and on Instagram. Send them a DM and they will take care of you. Thank you.
For all your graphic design, printing, branding, and advertising needs, look no further. Just speak to Concepts Advertising. They have a team of young, energetic staff who are very good at what they do and ready to satisfy all your orders. They deliver to every part of the country and at an affordable price. Call Concepts Advertising today on 0548 675 361 or 055 012 4343 or via email on conceptsadvertisingghana@gmail.com. Concepts Advertising, your print and design hub.
Doc, can someone sabotage himself with failure? Have you ever come across somebody sabotaging he or himself with failure?
Well, I did it for a long time. You're listening to your own voice.
So it means you cage yourself.
Yeah, you're listening to your own voice. You're listening to the criticisms that you've heard whilst you're growing up, that you can't do it, you never amount to nothing, you failed, people are laughing. So you're listening to all these things. And therefore, rather than, get up, brush yourself off, because you're falling, brush yourself off. Be enthusiastic about what it is that God has asked you to do, or your vision, or rather than getting up to do what you want to do, you're listening to your inner self, your inner critic, we call it, telling you how you're not good. You're waiting for it to be perfect. Nobody really likes what you're going to sell. You can't do it today. You want to wait till you've had the children. Or do you understand? We're telling ourselves, we're rehearsing all sorts of excuses in our heads, rather than getting up to do what it is you have to do. We are our worst enemy ourselves.
Really?
Of course.
Really?
Yes, we sabotage ourselves the most.
But from what you are saying, that we are sabotaging ourselves, we are not hearing this from our religious leaders. They will attribute it to the devil, to the demon, to the witchcraft, to your enemy. What do you say to that?
See, whilst I'm not an expert on the spiritual things, I am almost certain that a lot of our problems is not spiritual.
Really?
I'm certain.
We are spirits.
That's what we are spirits. I'm not an expert.
Though we are human beings, we are
but
at the same time spirits.
A lot of our challenges are self-made.
Really?
Yes. Yes, it has nothing to do with spirit. In fact, God is waiting for you. So what if you drive recklessly and then you have an accident? Maybe you didn't die, but you lost a leg. Who are you going to blame?
The old woman.
Yes. If you don't know how to count properly and you are selling and you lose money, who are you going to blame?
The enemy in my household.
Okay.
That is what.
That is what
that's the mindset.
That is the mindset. But if you make a mistake and you, like I keep on saying, that you learn from that mistake, there's no way you can blame somebody else.
So we shouldn't blame our failures.
We should not blame anybody for our failures. This is generalization. Maybe
So
okay,
those
so
who
there are
blame,
failures that happen that it has nothing to do with you.
doctor, so
Yes.
those who blame their failures on others, are they buying excuse, or they don't know their worth, or they are being lazy?
So maybe I need to qualify this a little bit. So some people are born with sickle cell.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about that. But we do know that if they're looking after themselves well, if they're taking the tablets and whatever, their life is prolonged. Okay, so they can do something about that. They also know that really, if they're going to marry somebody, they should make sure they're not marrying somebody else who is sickle cell, so that their children are not sickle cell. They should know that. Okay, now if you have a child that is sickle cell, it's not the child's fault, but you can do things to prevent, to make your life a bit better.
So
That's
failures
one.
are not spiritual. As
They're not always spiritual.
it has them.
They're not always spiritual.
They're
They're
not
not always
always
spiritual.
spiritual.
No. In fact, most of it is not spiritual.
Really?
Most of it, yes.
So are we praying wrong prayers
I think
without
that
looking back?
I think that we are praying, but we're not targeting what the problem is. We're praying amiss. I think. Now, if people are broke and poor, they feel they are failed, they can't do this, they can't do that. Why don't you start something small with whatever talent that God has given you? Then pray on that talent. That God, now my hands have found something to do. Let this work so that me too, when I go to church, I can pay my tithe. This is how we should not put everything as spiritual.
So has society failed us, or has society deceived us
I
in
think
seeing failure as evil?
I think the mindset definitely hasn't helped us.
Really?
It hasn't helped us, because if it's helping us, we would be in a different position by now. All of us would be doing the things we love. We are happy. Do you understand? If the way we've been thinking all the time was the way to do it, but we're not. We have a problem, so we have to change what we're doing.
Failure is not a shame.
Failure should not be a shame. Depending on what it is, it shouldn't be a shame.
Wow.
It should not be a shame. It should be something. Yes. Cry over it.
But
be upset.
Some failures are a shame.
Like which one?
And I'm giving an example.
Yes.
Like marriage. You go into marriage and you are divorced.
Yes.
It's a shame to the family, or to the other partner.
Yes. Now, I am
so
not.
In this case, should it be celebrated?
Not that kind of a failure. Now, I am not a marriage counselor, but when it comes to marriage, I know for certain that most of us get into marriage and we are not ready. We are not prepared at all. We are not ready. We're going, especially in African cultures, that you need to get married. As soon as you're married, they're pressuring to have baby. Do you understand? There's always a pressure from the family to do things, pressure from the family to do this and the other. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you need to get married. Wait 3, 4, 5 years. When you've got a job, you've got a nice place, and then have the children. Then life is a lot better. But as soon as you're married, 9 months, baby has arrived. Maybe you haven't got a job. then there's a tension. Then the family falls apart, and then we are blaming God. Then we're blaming it's a shame. So whilst I'm not a marriage counselor, there's obvious things that we can do before we get into marriage.
Okay.
To make to give us a better chance of making sure that our marriage doesn't fall apart.
Doc, thank you for coming. In fact,
it's a pleasure.
This subject is so. You have inspired us, motivated us, and we've learned that failure is not a shame, and it is also not a limitation to stop you from achieving one success in life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, viewers. As we heard from our guests, failure is not a limitation, it's not a stop, it's rather a pillar to push you into your success. Thanks for watching us. Same time next week, we are bringing you another episode. We are delving deeper into failure, life after failure, and how to turn our failures into success. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok under this handle, Faith on the Field Show produced by The Rock Studios. Keep your comments coming and like our page and share. In fact, this episode, we are bringing you educational topics that will change the mind. It is time we change how we think. It is time we change how we think. Don't see failure as evil. Don't see failure as coming from Satan. Remember, in the Bible, a lot of personality, they failed, but they bounced back and they did exploit. You can also do the same. Believe in yourself that it is possible. Bye-bye.
Bye.